They call her cold now, distant, hard to read, but she wasn't always like this. She used to over-explain every decision, apologize for having feelings, justify her existence to anyone who questioned it. Then one day, she stopped. Not because she stopped caring, but because she finally realized the people who get it don't need the explanation, and the people who don't won't accept one anyway. This isn't about becoming heartless, it's about becoming free. There's a version of emotional maturity that looks like coldness to people who benefited from your overfunctioning. Let's talk about what really happens when a woman stops performing vulnerability for an audience that never deserved it. The exhaustion of constant explanation. You spent years explaining yourself, why you felt hurt, why you needed space, why that comment bothered you, why you made that choice. Every emotion came with a defense. Every boundary came with a paragraph of justification. And still, they didn't get it. Or worse, they used your explanations against you. Your vulnerability became ammunition. Your honesty became evidence of your sensitivity. Your openness became a map to your weak spots. So you stopped. Not suddenly, slowly. Each ignored explanation, each twisted word, each dismissed feeling taught you some people don't want to understand, they want to argue, and you're done auditioning for people who've already decided you're wrong. What they call cold is actually peace. The woman they call cold is often the woman who finally found peace. She's not emotionless, she's selective, she's not hard, she's protected, she's not distant. She's discerning about who deserves access. She still feels everything, maybe more than before, but she's stopped performing those feelings for people who don't value them. She stopped bleeding openly for an audience that watches without helping. Cold isn't the absence of warmth. It's the refusal to waste it on people who stand by the fire and complain it's not hot enough. The approval trap. She escaped behind every woman who over-explains is a little girl who was taught her feelings weren't valid unless someone else agreed. She learned to seek permission for her own emotions, to build a case for her needs like a lawyer defending the obvious. She wasn't explaining because people needed to understand. She was explaining because she needed their approval to trust herself. Their validation was the password to access her own truth. When she stopped explaining, she stopped needing that password. She started trusting her own perception without external confirmation. She decided her reality was valid whether or not anyone else signed off on it. That's not cold, that's freedom. And freedom makes people uncomfortable, especially those who benefited from her doubt. Who calls her cold notice? Who's calling her cold? It's rarely people who loved her well. It's almost always people who preferred her accessible, accommodating, easy to read, and easier to manipulate. The person who calls her cold is often the one who lost access to her emotional labor, who can't guilt her into over-functioning anymore, who can't bait her into explaining herself, just to watch her scramble. When someone calls a woman cold, the translation is often, she stopped prioritizing my comfort over her peace. That's not an insult. That's a boundary working exactly as intended. The silence that speaks. There's power in what you don't say. In the argument you don't take the bait for. In the justification you refuse to give. In the silence that says, I know what I know, and I don't need you to agree. She used to fill every silence with words, terrified of being misunderstood, desperate to be seen correctly. Now she lets the silence sit. She lets people draw their own conclusions because she's learned that people will believe what they want regardless of how perfectly she explains. The people who matter will ask with curiosity, not accusation. They'll seek to understand, not cross-examine. And for those people, she'll open up. But she's done performing for an audience that's already decided she's guilty. What she gained by stopping When she stopped explaining, she found energy. Defending yourself constantly is exhausting. All that energy she spent crafting justifications now goes toward living her life instead of narrating it. Self-trust. She no longer needs external validation to believe her own experience. Her reality is valid because she lived it. Full stop. Better relationships. The people who stayed don't need her to explain herself constantly. They give her the benefit of the doubt. They trust her intentions. They love her without requiring endless proof. Peace. The mental noise quieted. The constant rehearsal of arguments and explanations stopped. Her mind became hers again instead of a courtroom where she's always on trial. Boundaries. Without the compulsion to over-explain, she simply states what she will and won't accept and walks away if it's not respected. No negotiation, no performance. The evolution, not shut down. People mistake her quietness for shutting down, but she hasn't shut down. She's evolved. There's a difference. Shutting down is reactive. It comes from pain and closes everything off. Evolution is intentional. It comes from wisdom and opens only to those who've earned it. She's not cold to everyone. She's warm to the right people. The ones who don't make her audition for acceptance. The ones who receive her truth without demanding a bibliography. She's learned to read rooms, protect energy, and recognize when someone wants to understand versus when they want to win. That discernment looks like coldness to those who want easy access to a woman who's finally locked the door. Permission to stop explaining. If this is you, the woman who's tired of over-explaining, consider this your permission to stop. You don't owe anyone a justification for your feelings. You don't need to build a case for your boundaries. You don't have to make your needs palatable to be valid. The right people will understand without essays. The wrong people won't understand despite them. Either way, your energy is better spent on living than convincing. The new language. Her vocabulary has changed. Where she used to say paragraphs, now she says, that doesn't work for me. I'm not available for that. I've made my decision. She's not cold. She's just stopped setting herself on fire to keep people warm who wouldn't even notice if she burned out completely. She's not distant. She's done being close to people who used her openness as a weapon. She's not hard. She's soft in ways she protects now with people who've proven they'll be gentle with her. If the world calls her cold for refusing to over-explain, let them. She knows the truth. She's warmer than ever. She's just selective about who gets to feel it. If this spoke to you, subscribe for more psychology that validates your evolution. Comment, when did you stop explaining yourself? Your silence is not coldness, it's growth. Wear it proudly.